for our final topic of the day. Carmelo Anthony needs a new team, and the Lakers need to fill roster spots. So could there be a match here? SNY reports that league execs think the Lakers are the most likely destination for Melo. However, the 10-time All-Star has not played in the NBA since November. Shannon, would you want Melo on the Lakers?
Only if he go play for $42.13.
Really?
Yeah.
Even then, would you want him on your Lakers?
Yeah, man. What we've seen from Melo is that Melo's only been great in one role, in a starting role, Denver and New York. He wasn't accepting, and as you get older, you must accept roles. And it seems that OKC, it didn't work out. Houston, it didn't work out. Is he ever going to be comfortable being the 7th, 8th guy, Skip?
No.
So I don't see, and I like to think like LeBron can maximize Melo, but I just don't see it happening. We don't get Bogdanovich, get JJ Redick. Let's see what's out there first. And if you
want Bogdanovich over Carmelo Anthony.
Yes,
and you're right. You should.
Yes, because Bogdanovich knows his role. He's a catch and shoot 3-point shooter,
and he's really good.
Yeah, 42.5% from
right
three.
In his prime. You cannot keep doing favors for friends. It's a bad idea, especially in this case, because Carmelo can't accept some sub role.
Right.
He's just not that guy. He's not made that way. He wasn't born that way.
Right.
So what happened when LeBron brought D-Wade to Cleveland? What happened?
Didn't work.
It just didn't work out. And finally, about mid-year, wasn't it?
Yep.
LeBron just said, hey,
Go
love
home.
you, man, but go home. And at least he got him back to Miami to call it a day in Miami, right?
Yep.
In this case, you don't want to have a last hurrah with Carmelo because Chris Paul tried a last hurrah, right? And it lasted, what, like 10 games? Yeah, 10 games. He averaged 13 and 5 and didn't fit.
Right. So is he going to be willing to accept the minimum? Willing to accept the role where he plays 18, 20 minutes a night?
No, bad idea.
Probably not. Great stuff today, gentlemen.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us, but we will be back tomorrow morning. Right now, call in free agency.
If what Steve Kerr is saying is true and is to be believed, I think it is more likely that he stays. If that is true, Skip, that means the trust is not completely broken as much as we'd like to think. Because Steve Kerr said not only did our doctors say he couldn't injure it or it wasn't the Achilles or whatever the injury was, his doctor, and then a third physician. So it's like, hold on. It's not just us. And for Kevin to go to two independent doctors and they come to the same conclusion that our doctors came to, Kevin then has to say, well, hey, this was an isolated incident. And it was reported that all three of the doctors said they had never seen this the first time something like this had happened. Skip, because let me tell you what happens. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Kevin Durant gets cleared and he doesn't play. Now we have a Kawhi Leonard situation on our hand because that's what you were harping on. The Spurs doctors cleared him. He didn't play.
Yep.
Okay. He's Kawhi. He gets cleared. He plays. He tears it. Skip, he was damned. There was no way Kevin Durant could win because either outcome would not, granted, he wouldn't have had a torn an Achilles, but either outcome would not have been favorable for Kevin Durant because now he's going to get labeled is that the doctors cleared him. Our doctors cleared him. And he could have played, but he didn't. Kevin Durant get cleared by three doctors. And he plays, he tears his Achilles, and now he's out basically for a year. So he couldn't win. But I think with this, Steve Kerr is saying, it wasn't just our doctors. Kevin Durant went outside, and two other doctors told Kevin the very same thing that our doctors did.
He's saying his own specialist plus a third opinion.
Yes.
Okay. So
it doesn't happen often, Skip, but there have been times that, you have to go and get a fourth, and they said it was this, and I got misdiagnosed over here and over there until we come to some kind of resolution. I feel bad for Kevin Durant because he was in a no-win situation. He couldn't win, especially when the outcome came to what it did. The only way he could win, Skip, is that he plays and he doesn't tear the Achilles.
Okay.
That was the only way he could win because in every other situation, he loses. If he gets cleared, he doesn't play, he's Kawhi Leonard 2019. If he does play, he tears his Achilles. Like, what the hell were you thinking, KD?
Okay.
So I believe in the situation that had it played out, there was no way he could win.
Okay. Is it possible this was a sheerly coincidental freak injury?
It's possible.
That he ruptured his Achilles independent of anything that had previously happened, the previous injury?
Yes.
Is it possible it just went for whatever reason?
Yes.
Because sometimes you just don't know why the Achilles snaps.
Right.
Right? Is it likely that happened? No, not likely. And again, I am increasingly suspicious for the most part because of what Andre Iguodala said the day before in New York City on the Breakfast Club.
Right.
He said, hey, I got pushed to play. I had a fracture, and they announced that it was a bone bruise.
Right.
Well, he called out management. He called out Warriors' credibility, right?
Yeah.
He said they don't have credibility because he's saying they cannot be trusted.
Okay.
So Steve Kerr comes across like the nice man next door,
Right.
the most trustable coach
Yes.
in the league, right? There's no used car salesman to him,
No.
right? And you want to believe him. And he went on Tim Kawakami's podcast yesterday, and he just poured his heart out. Like, we had no idea. We haven't heard any negativity from Kevin or his people. Not sure he would have, because Kevin's not like that. He's not confrontational, that he go back to him and say, how dare you? How did you do this to me?
And if he had heard it,
Yeah.
do you think Steve Kerr would voice it that Kevin and his people are very upset with us and how we handle the situation?
I don't
Of course
know.
he wouldn't say that.
I don't know. So, again, when I take the Rick Bucher report, really pissed off, well, I'm going to take that one to the bank. And I know that Andrew Bogut took a shot at, called him Ricky Bucher yesterday, taking a shot at his credibility. I'm going to bet on Rick Bucher
Okay.
here. He's been doing this for a long time. He's
agree.
been very plugged into that team and that situation. He lives in the Bay Area. He lives out just outside of San Francisco. So, given what Iguodala said and Rick reported, I'm going to side with Kevin on this one. I think he got taken to the cleaners on this one. I think he got misled about an injury that you thought on the first night.
Yes.
The first night he went down, you said Achilles.
Yes.
I said Achilles. I think the world was thinking Achilles, right?
Yes.
And they announced not calf tear, calf strain.
Right.
So we went all the way from calf strain to Achilles rupture. And somebody had to know there was some issue going on with the Achilles tendon.
But Skip, I would agree with you if it was just the team doctor, the Warriors team doctors that examined Kevin Durant. Now, maybe they told him it was a calf strain, but it's hard for me to believe that when they took an MRI, they didn't examine the entire lower leg because they got it in the tube, so you might as well. Hey, let's look at the Achilles.
Usually it's there. The calf is so close because the calf melds into the right?
The top, you're right.
Yeah.
Right, to the Achilles, the soleus and the gastroc, the two big muscles in the calf, two muscles in the calf. So but Skip, he went to his own guy, and then a third guy told him the same thing. I mean, if three people tell you something, Skip, you're going to believe it. Now, I'm sorry.
Now you're believing what Steve Kerr said yesterday.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If what he
that's
said is true and to be believed, yes.
Okay. Is it also possible that Kevin knew exactly what the risk was and he took the risk?
Man.
Okay.
I don't know about that, Skip.
If they told him you have fraying, you have like a partial, like a micro tear in your Achilles, and it could go at any moment.
Right.
And he said, I got to suck it up and go for my guys.
I'm looking at it like this, Skip. If there's a rope, I see a rope, and I need to get to the top, but it's fraying. I ain't using that rope. I'm going to find another mean. If they tell me I got fraying in my Achilles, I ain't playing. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say, hey, put me in a boot. Let me take 3-4 months, and then I go about it another way. But I'm not using that rope if it's fraying.
Okay.
I'm not playing on the Achilles if it's fraying.
Okay. If I tell you have a sore knee, like a tendonitis in your knee or arthritic condition, you'd say, I can play through that because I don't think you're going to hurt it much worse than it is. It's going to hurt, but it's not going to be further injured.
But here's the thing, Skip. When they say, well, you got an Achilles and you can't make it worse, yeah, you could tear it. That's worse than tendonitis. That's worse than fraying.
Of all the injuries in your whole body, that's the most dangerous.
Yes.
Any fraying is you're on the thinnest of ice.
Yes.
And you're going to fall through the ice at any split second.
And and when doctors say, well, your knee and you can't, I can, because there's degrees. You have strain, you have a grade 2, and then you have a tear. If I got a strain, Skip, I can do something worse than that strain. I can tear it.
Okay.
If I got you got a bone bruise, you can't make it any worse. Yes, I can. I can actually break it.
Okay.
That would be worse.
Okay. If you have a fractured rib, can you play through it? It's just going to hurt. It's going to be so painful, but can you make it that much worse? Probably not.
Because the only thing is that the thing with the rib, Skip, is that they're very cautious not to get. I mean, you take injection because you got lungs, you got other things in there that you can
Hard to
puncture.
inject it,
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
But there's so many other injuries that can't